Hi everybody, welcome to the last Political Access video of 2023. I hope you have a great new year and we have a great 2024 on the channel. This final video is going to be 10 things to watch for in the upcoming year. There's a whole lot of things out there. This is not in a special order, so we've got a lot we're going to try to zip through. Let's start with number 10. It's the upcoming primaries, in particular the New Hampshire Republican primary. The Iowa caucuses are coming up in a couple weeks. That's pretty much a done deal for Trump, but New Hampshire, that's probably going to be the make or break state. I've got the Real Clear Politics polling right here. Trump is up pretty significantly by over 20, but the buzz the last few weeks has been around Nikki Haley gaining ground. If we go down to the timeline, we can see that she's now in the mid-20s. She's got a long way to go. New Hampshire is not Trump's strongest state. I think he's still likely to win, but if anybody's going to take out Trump, right now it looks like it's going to be Nikki Haley, and it would be in New Hampshire. If she somehow managed to do it, she would go into her home state of South Carolina with some momentum. You could look at the averages on 538, but it's similar. The rest of the primary will be something to look at as well. Also in New Hampshire, we might have to see Biden be a write-in candidate, but unless something crazy happens, it's going to be Biden and Trump as the nominees. Number 9, it's any of the legal cases involving Donald Trump. Here's a page that summarizes the upcoming chronology involving his criminal and civil cases, and as I scroll down, you can see there's a lot here. Some of it's more significant than others, but this is all potential baggage for Trump. He was riding high in the polls the last couple months, and you might think these trials are all politically motivated or have no substance, but regardless, if there's a conviction, that's not going to look good for Trump. Now you might just say Trump keeps getting stronger with everything they throw at him, but if he does take a hit on one of these significant cases, it's hard to imagine in a general election that independents or swing voters are going to be more open to voting for Trump if he does get a conviction. Now there's a flip side to this. If Trump is acquitted or there's a hung jury, he's going to take that as being completely vindicated, and honestly, I would think anything other than an absolute conviction would be beneficial to Trump. So these trials do have some potential to drag him down, but like with almost everything, there are no guarantees. If you want a little bit more about some of the specifics on these trials, there's another page right here. There's way too much to cover here, but as always, all the links will be down below in the description. Let's move on to number 8. That is going to be the economy, and this could have a significant impact on the election. There's different sources you could use, but here's the civics data. As of late December, 54% say the economy is getting worse, 28% say it's getting better, 15% say it's staying the same. As of the last few weeks, the getting better has ticked up very slightly, and it's actually at its highest point all year. Another way you could look at it is in this question right here. How would you rate the condition of the national economy right now? 39% say very bad, 26 fairly good, 24 fairly bad, and 7 very good. So almost nobody thinks it's very good. The vast majority of people are unsatisfied with the economic conditions. Now this poses a huge problem for Biden. If it all boiled down to it's the economy stupid, then Biden is done for. No matter how low the unemployment rate goes or what kind of infrastructure spending there is, the inflation over the past 2 or 3 years has been crippling. So even if the rate of inflation starts to go down, I don't think that's any kind of a victory. I would guess the pain from most people losing hundreds or thousands of dollars over the past couple of years, that's going to outweigh the rate of increase going down. I would think there would have to be deflation for an extended period of time for people to start actually feeling that in their wallets. Even if there's other positive indicators in the economy, if there's one horrible thing, it's going to cancel out anything else that's good. It's just like if you have cancer. I don't think it matters much how good your cholesterol or blood pressure is. It's going to be a challenge for Biden. If it turns around a lot, that could be enough for him to scrape by, but maybe the damage is done and Biden is permanently tarnished with a horrible economy. We'll see what happens. Number 7, it's the impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden. We saw the full House recently vote to authorize the inquiry, and here's the House Ways and Means Committee timeline on the process, and like with almost everything these days, either this is a complete distraction and a clown show, or nobody's above the law and there's actually some substance here. If you want to take a look at the Wikipedia page, that's here as well. I have no idea what's going to happen with that. I think this thing is completely convoluted. As I said, Democrats think there's nothing there. Republicans say maybe, but let's actually take a look and find out. This is another thing that could rally Democrats to get behind Joe Biden if they think he's in trouble. Or if he gets impeached, then he'll have a black eye from that, just like Trump. Maybe it goes somewhere, maybe it goes nowhere. We'll find out. Let's go to number 6. That's going to be abortion. In the midst of the vast majority of issues that seem to favor the Republicans, abortion is not one of them. This could galvanize some voters to turn out and help Democrats. Here's a list on Ballotpedia of upcoming abortion-related measures. It's possible there could be even more by Election Day. If we get on this page, there's more detail on 12 states where this is going to be on the ballot, and as I always say, voters are complicated. Plenty of issues favor favor Republicans. This issue favors Democrats. I think voters do want some access to abortion, and that's where the conversation is framed right now. I also think most voters are open to some restrictions on the other end, but that's not where the conversation is framed right now. Maybe this issue matters a ton, maybe it starts to fizzle, or maybe it matters in addition to other things mattering. You gotta be open to different possibilities. I don't think Democrats should just rely on this to carry them over the top when they're pretty much behind in almost every other issue, but at the same time, Republicans haven't really done themselves any favors on this particular topic, but that is going to be something to take a look at. Now let's go to number 5. We've got ballots, and in particular, ballot harvesting. Usually Democrats have been supportive of it, Republicans have been against it, but here in California, Republicans are leaning into it. And even if Republicans are against it in principle, if they can just embrace it to play by the rules at hand, maybe they can net an extra 1%. That could be crucial in some of the close races. And if you get on Ballotpedia, here's a summary of the legality of ballot harvesting in all the states. Now, there's a bunch of related issues regarding ballots. There's mass mailing to all registered voters. There's signature verifications. All that stuff does kind of tie in. For better or worse, it's all stuff that Trump and Republicans mostly shied away from in 2020. If Trump comes out and changes his tune and says we got to do all these things to win, it's possible that's a game changer. So ballot laws, including harvesting, that is going to be something to watch. Number 4 is going to be ballot access. We already saw Trump get removed from the primary ballot in Colorado. Maybe other states jump on that bandwagon, maybe they don't. But the main focus here is going to be about third parties. So this page outlines everything for the major parties and for independents, and it can be complicated. But why does this matter? Well, third parties might be the deciding factor in the election. First, we've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's got to be the biggest name right now. This says his focus is actually shifting to Arizona, California, Georgia, Illinois, Michigan, New York, and Texas. They say we believe we won't be able to support ballot access in Indiana, Colorado, and Nevada. Now, that's all just from the PAC that supports him. I heard him say not that long ago he's going to be on the ballot in all 50 states. I'm sure it's a massive uphill climb. Then you do have to worry about the potential for both major parties trying to prevent him from being on the ballot, but there's still some time for things to change. There's always a small chance Kennedy just drops out. But if Kennedy has that much trouble and he's that high profile of a candidate, I imagine it's going to be tough for another independent. That's going to be Cornel West. This is one where Biden and the Democrats definitely do not want him on the ballot. I'm sure it's true he would hurt Biden, but if he meets the requirements for the ballot, what can you do? You got to put him on there. It's also possible West drops out. There are tons of different outcomes. Also, we've got Joe Manchin. We don't know if he's going to run for no labels. If he does, it's going to be the same challenge to get ballot access. It's yet another one where Democrats are going to not want Manchin on the ballot. I tend to think Manchin is not going to run, but you never know. He could team up with Larry Hogan. In this article, it says he's got an upcoming listening tour. Either way, third parties and ballot access, that could change everything. Next, number 3, that's going to be redistricting. Here's the Wikipedia page that summarizes all the ongoing litigation. We've already got new maps in North Carolina and Alabama. We could be looking at new maps in New York and Wisconsin. Some of these maps I do think are pretty bad. Alabama was probably the worst, also Tennessee. Texas and Florida I think are bad, but not as bad as those other states. And most of these are red states. The current New York map I think was one of the most balanced, but as I always say, I think the most egregious offenders like Illinois or New Jersey or even California, those are completely locked in place, and that's unfortunate because I think they're worse than almost all of these right here. If you want more information on this, here's an ABC News page. This tells you more detail about what's happened in some of these states. It is mid-cycle redistricting. It's a weird and inconsistent process. There's a lot of inconsistencies in these maps. I would love to see the focus be on partisan balance. I think that's really the only way to go to please both sides, but it is what it is. It's a mess, but if new maps come out, they can determine which party is going to win the U.S. House. It's already a narrow majority right now. Just a few seats changing hands could change the balance. Let's go to number 2, and that is going to be Supreme Court cases. Here's a Wikipedia summary of what's coming up on the current term. A lot of these are not high profile, but if you want a quick summary, this is a great place to start. The other thing you could do is get on SCOTUS blog, and the reason this is all important is because a juicy decision could come out right in the middle of the year. It's going to be during the presidential election. It could catch both sides off guard, and it's possible, like abortion, it could animate voters. Maybe nothing exciting happens this year and it doesn't affect anything, but the Supreme Court is definitely something to consider. And the last thing, number 1 or number 10 if you're going in the other direction, that's going to be polling. Here's a 538 article that summarizes the 2022 midterm polling, and it does say the polls were historically accurate. It has some tables to back it up, but the reason I point this out is we don't know what to expect for polling heading into 2024. 2016 completely underestimated Trump and Republicans. In 2020, they also underestimated Trump in several of the key states, but as Democrats point out, they overperformed in 2022, and they've overperformed in special elections since. So I think both sides can claim there's something in their favor over recent elections, and I think at the same time, usually when they're trailing, they can also say, don't look at the polls, they've been way too inaccurate. There's no telling how accurate they're going to be. Everybody's going to go in hoping their side is underestimated and the other side is overestimated. I think you have to look at the polls. You can't completely ignore all of them, but you do have to go in with some caution and be prepared for some misses. Always look at multiple polls, try to take a look at things in the aggregate, and unless there's some kind of an unexpected landslide, it's pretty much going to come down to a handful of battleground states. So maybe there's a hidden Trump vote that's going to come out huge and put him over the top, or maybe it is all about abortion and young voters are going to put Biden over the top. Either way, I hope the polling industry regains some credibility, and those are the 10 things I think are worth taking a look at for 2024. There's a bunch of other things you could mention. You could talk about elections in Europe, the Israel-Hamas conflict, immigration, Trump's vice presidential pick, the upcoming special elections, or maybe big tech is a factor. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these issues? Do you agree with all 10 of them? Maybe you disagree with 1 or 2, or maybe all 10 of these issues somehow. What are the things you're going to be looking at? And what do you think are the under-the-radar things that everybody else should be taking a look at? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.